what is the difference between personality and ego? When you lose your ego, do you still have a personality? And is the goal to lose the ego? There's no real difference. That's the point. One has created the other. So when you lose your ego, you don't really have personality for what it means. Again, we have to go back to the words and the definitions, and sometimes people can play with the words, and it's confusing between different spiritual teachers who use sometimes the similar words with different meanings. But personality comes from persona. Persona is the mask, the facade, so it's created artificially, and that's what an ego is. Ego, or Osho likes to call it also like the false self. So that's exactly the whole made-up identity, in some ways, of one individual. And all that, yes, is all made up, is exactly your source of suffering. Personality, ego. Personality is more like, ego is the whole self-centered energy, motivation to develop something around it with a facade and some specific criteria that makes all these people say, oh, well, you see, that I'm happy that we are all different, otherwise it would be boring, so we are all individual, all different, and they're very happy with that. But that's exactly the source of suffering. What you think makes you you is exactly all those addictions that you have developed, because there's of course an infinity of ways to get addicted more and more. So and that's what defines personality. Personality is all those criteria that makes you supposedly different and an individual versus other beings. And that's coming from that ego. Ego needs to develop that, to develop its way to say, this is me and I'm so different than you. So then the comparison can start and the competition can start. So yeah, not to try to go too long on that. That's what it is. And so is the goal to lose the ego? Yes, ultimately. But again, it happens naturally. When you start to do the proper work, when you start to concentrate, you have the humility to know that you know nothing, or what you have known so far is totally the opposite of the truth, the ultimate truth. Then you start to concentrate to try to figure what the truth is, the ultimate truth. And then you start to go deeper and deeper of your soul, into your source of the source of your being, and you start to figure where all that come from, and it's pretty much nothingness. And so when all those build-up things, personality, identity, ego, start to get dissolved, to see that there's nothing really tangible behind it, it's only actually made up beliefs, then of course that ego will drop. But it's a hard one, which is linked to the conceit, and conceit from different real teachers, they will confirm that it's the last big step to get rid of. Because you can still achieve concrete stages and steps, but which are wonderful. But then there's always that reaction of satisfaction, self-satisfaction, to have achieved something, to have reached that level, and to almost feel that it's good enough. So that's a hard one. But of course, in another hand, when one has lost that ego and transcended life, basically, beyond the field of mind and matter, beyond the senses, which makes one human, one ego, then it is a pretty interesting place of full awareness and wisdom.